In 1925, one man sold the Eiffel Tower. Stranger still, it never belonged to him, and the buyer never told a soul. Paris, 1925. The Eiffel Tower was aging, expensive to maintain, and increasingly unpopular with the very city that had built it. A con artist named Victor Lustig arrived in the city, and in the newspapers he found something extraordinary. The tower was a financial burden. Officials were debating tearing it down for scrap metal. Lustig saw not a demolition problem, but the opportunity of a lifetime. He researched the biggest scrap metal dealers in Paris, quietly studying which men were wealthy enough and greedy enough to believe the impossible. Lustig commissioned forged government stationery, complete with an official seal, and gave himself a title, Deputy Director. He checked into the Hôtel de Crillon, one of Paris's most luxurious hotels, and wrote secret letters inviting the dealers to a private meeting. Each letter demanded absolute discretion, hinting at a lucrative deal too sensitive to discuss anywhere but behind closed doors. 5 of Paris's top scrap dealers arrived at the hotel suite, uncertain why a government official had summoned them in secret. Lustig told them the tower had engineering faults and unbearable costs, and that officials had quietly decided to tear it down. 7,000 tons of iron, he said, would be sold for scrap to the highest bidder, but the plan had to remain hidden from the public. To make the lie feel real, Lustig rented limousines and personally toured the men around the tower, studying each one for weakness. One dealer stood out, André Poisson, still new to Paris business circles and eager to prove he belonged among the city's elite. Poisson placed his bid, desperate to win what he believed was the deal of his career, unaware the auction was never real at all. Lustig told him privately that he had won, then paused, as if suddenly uneasy about revealing something delicate. A government salary, Lustig confided, paid so little, and finding a buyer for something this large came with certain personal risk. Poisson understood immediately. This was a request for a bribe, and paying it would guarantee the tower would be his. He agreed without hesitation, signed the documents in the hotel room, and personally handed over 70,000 francs in cash. Lustig took the money, shook his hand, and thanked him for his discretion, in this business more than any other. Within the hour, Lustig was gone, already racing toward a train bound for the Austrian border, the cash secured inside his coat. At the station, porters loaded luggage as the whistle sounded, and Victor Lustig disappeared into the crowd like any other traveler. For weeks he scanned the French newspapers, waiting for headlines about the swindled businessman and the tower that was never for sale. But the story never broke. No article, no warrant, no sketch of his face appeared anywhere in the press. André Poisson never told the police. Admitting he had paid a bribe would end his reputation faster than losing the money ever could. Silence, Lustig realized, was the safest outcome money could buy, so he made a decision almost nobody would dare to make. 6 months later, he returned to Paris and pulled the exact same con on 5 entirely new scrap dealers. This time, one dealer grew suspicious and alerted the police, and the story of the vanishing tower finally reached the newspapers. Front pages carried the story of the man who had sold the Eiffel Tower not once, but twice, and escaped both times. Lustig fled Europe for the United States, where new schemes and new victims waited for a man who never stopped playing the part. Victor Lustig proved that with enough confidence and enough secrecy, even the impossible can be sold twice to people too proud to admit.